Okay. Honorable Dr. Meshgan Alawar, many thanks, Madam. It is an honor to be here with you, co-hosting this important expo and collaborating in the forum dedicated to young people. We thank you, and through you, we also thank the Vice President of United Arab Emirates and ruler of Dubai, his family, and the people for all your efforts in welcoming us, opening your doors and your hearts to UAE, and through that, to this beautiful region. Excellency, Minister Vanda Piñato, Secretary of Social Inclusion of El Salvador, it is an honor to have you here, Madam, not only for the work you will be sharing with us today, but for your lifelong leadership and unrestful efforts in providing better opportunities for the most excluded and vulnerable populations with dignity and respect. You are, Madam, an inspiration to many of us. Thank you for being here. Madam Mason Al-Subi, we thank you for accepting to be our keynote speaker. We all look forward to your presentation. Respected presenters and discussants, we thank you deeply for taking the time off your agendas to fly across time zones, to meet here and share your rich and valuable know-how and experience. We believe that together, today, we are initiating an alliance for mutual cooperation in providing better opportunities for young people through the South-South Knowledge Exchange vehicle. I would like to welcome our special guest, Priscilla Vera. Priscilla, are you here? There she is. Can you stand up? Thank you so much. Priscilla Vera is former Minister of Youth from Mexico, as well as young woman leader politician in her country. During her tenure, Ms. Vera led the first World Youth Conference, which resulted in the Guanajuato Declaration, a document agreed by 113 high-level official delegations and 153 young NGOs from across the world. As a young woman, she had to overcome many obstacles in an extremely challenging context to reach a successful achievement. But she may feel rewarded by seeing that inviting leaders to listen and take action on the young people's dreams and aspirations then has not only continued and broadened, and young people are slowly but steadily being more recognized in the priority agenda. While we may have still a journey ahead of us, we welcome you and we thank you for being here and for all the efforts you have done in your life to position the dreams of the young people in the center of our hearts and our agendas. We welcome all, particularly young people present, as well as participants, colleagues, and media. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to leave you with Dr. Alawar, who will give us the welcoming remarks to this forum and to Dubai. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. We would like to greet you first in the United Arab Emirates formal language. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome everyone. So we would like to welcome ladies, gentlemen, and the generation of tweets and snaps, because it's all about them. We are talking today about the youth, and we are so honored to be hosting this grand event and having all our respected panelists today with us in this Youth Solution Forum. The youth, I would like to speak about an example of the Zayed International Foundation for the Environment, its example in the youth, and the United Arab Emirates as well. As we are talking about the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, especially in the South-South, we would like that this example and this best practice to be looked at and then taken into consideration, since we are here and today UNDP launched its SS Smart application for the best practices. United Arab Emirates, early this year, after the approval of SDGs and the 2030 agenda, they have activated, and it's the quote of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President of United Arab Emirates, Prime Minister and ruler of Dubai, and the patron of Zayed International Foundation for the Environment. So we have, from the top of the pyramid, the support of the government for the youth. This is one aspect, of course, of the Sustainable Development Goals. And it just the hierarchy of this initiative is that the Youth Ministry was formed this year. It was established, Ministry for Youth, and the minister is a young female, and she was a graduate from one of our universities. So that was the first initiative. It's not only that we want to say that we have something in the higher level, but going down after the policy, after the institutional framework, to go to have in the whole 7 Emirates youth councils. Not only that, going down to the organizations level as well, they have youth circles to just listen to the problems that youth have and to know the know-how of better tackle these problems of today's. This was an example of, and not only that, but just recently this month, they have activated as well the national agenda for the communication with the youth. And that was with His Highness directly and the vision of the government with the youth in the whole Emirates. Either they are school students or they are universities. All of these initiatives are being taken into consideration. And now it's not only looked at, but they are really coming, they are only translated in the action programs that we are having now. So going back to the Zayed International Foundation, let's have a look at how we also go in line with the government and with the global challenge of empowering the youth. So we managed to get the approval of His Highness as the patron of Zayed International Prize for the Environment, one of the 2 prizes in Zayed International Foundation, to add the category of youth to the Zayed International Prize for the Environment. As it was previously, we had 3 categories for the international leaders in environment and the technological and scientific achievements in the field of environment and sustainable development, and the 3rd category for the grassroots and private sectors and any other organizations that would have a change in the society. But then we added that new category for young scientists so that that international vision for this organization, which was meant to be forwarding the legacy of who this prize is bearing the name of, the father of United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, be mercy upon him. This was the vision when His Highness started this foundation, take it international. So, and we are proud to say that we are going to celebrate the first young scientist category early next year as a new category that we launched it in 2014. So we were working together in the global challenges to see how we can implement and include in a way or other the role of youth in also innovation. I don't want to just, this was it was meant to be welcoming just remarks. I would like in this one that today we are honored to have everyone with us today and look into each other's best practices and have partnerships that would strengthen the role of South-South. And so we would have a small advice to the young generations to say, rise above stereotype. And as this generation, why they are being named as tech savvy, and instead using these tools to foster innovations for concrete solutions for the South-South and globally as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arward. And when you mentioned tech savvy, I just realized that is not, I am not part of that generation. I think I am over that generation. So all of the ones that are tech savvy, this is the world that's coming today. Thank you very much. I would like to acknowledge the presence of the special representative of the Secretary General, the special envoy of the Secretary General for South-South Cooperation, Mr. Jorge Chediek, who is here in the rooms. Thank you, sir, for being with us. And he's also the director for the UN Office for South-South Cooperation. Now we welcome and we thank also our keynote speaker. You all have in your places the bios of all of our presenters and discussants today. If you like to know the marvelous careers, but also what they have achieved in really putting forward this agenda in the world. You can see there. Madame Mason Al-Soubi is the Secretary General of Higher Population Council in Jordan. Today, the world population is passing through a demographic transition. Dr. Al-Soubi will talk to us about that. But if you allow me, I may read a short conclusion of a research done by Sperling and Winthrop 2016, which was published in our State of the World Population report, just launched a few days ago by our executive director. And I will quote and read. All evidence suggests that healthy, educated girls will in the course of their lives contribute to greater economic growth, higher agricultural productivity, lower rates of infant and maternal mortality, smaller and better educated families, lower prevalence of HIV and malaria, more women in leadership positions, and more resilience to climate change and crisis. And these are just few of their benefits. Let's welcome our keynote speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. First, I'd like to thank the Dubai government and especially Zayed International Foundation for receiving us and for the good hospitality that we received from them. And I also special thank for the UNFPA because for inviting me to share my experience and to learn from other partners and other UNFPA initiatives that I see it would be a good thing to exchange knowledge. So thank you. First of all, I'd like to tell you what the Higher Population Council is for in Jordan. It is a national reference for all population and development issues. The Council coordinates with all partners and the stakeholders to develop policies, strategies, action plans, and follow up and evaluate their implementation. Also, HPC also provide relevant information and raise awareness and initiatives, advocacy, and strengthen national capabilities in the field. I have to change this. Okay. And, all right, second. Main messages. I will talk, of course, about demographic opportunity that we are now working on in Jordan. The main message is Jordan, like other countries, and that witness a recent decline in their fertility rates, is on verge of a historic demographic change that hold a demographic opportunity. This opportunity is usually accompanied by various social and economic changes, which can take the form of challenges in case they are not employed appropriately. Therefore, prior preparation, planning, and monitoring of these changes can create useful opportunities, which can occur in conjunction with continued decline in fertility rates. The procedure that we adopt in formulating these policies, first you have to have the right and the needed information and inputs. We did a lot of studies and research. We have population projection and, of course, studies on population growth and development. Because this document needs the input of all stakeholders, so we start forming steering committees where everybody were represented, and we study the current population, and we baseline the information. Based on that, we did population projection and study this opportunity and what policies that I will take later about is needed to work on. Then once it is on board and we have the policies, then we make advocacy program, because everybody should be educated on these policies, and they should have take their role to implement. And of course, we developed the monitoring and follow-up plan. Each plan you have to monitor and follow up, so to see if you are still on the right track. The output of this, we have this demographic opportunity policies document. We have also a national plan for monitoring and follow-up, and we periodically issue a reports, monitoring and follow-up reports on the progress of these plans. The document is considered as a comprehensive national document in line with Jordan Vision 2025, the international goals for sustainable development 2030, and directed to the national strategies and programs. Demographic opportunity, the benefit and policies. Growing labor force and increased saving in GDPs, lower dependency rates on working Jordanians, population decrease leading to decreased load on the country and services. To realize such growth, however, will require policies to further reduce fertility rates, to encourage investment in human capital, job creation and pension and openness to global economy, and to provide for health care and pension needs of an increasingly elderly population. Maybe I forgot. The logical framework for a national, we set our strategic goals and we write the policies needed to reach these goals. First is reaching the peak of population opportunity, which is expected in Jordan to be in 2040. This one by investment in reproductive health, family planning programs. So if we do this, because we said it is important to reach the fertility rate at 2.1 in order to reach this opportunity. We have to invest the population opportunity, so a lot of policies put like policies toward motivated educational environment for education, scientific research and creativity, policy to support the turnout of vocational and technical work, policy toward motivated business, investment and creativity environment, policy to increase the turnout of the entrepreneurial works and self-employed, policies to raise the percentage of economic participation of women, policies toward an infrastructure fit the need of population opportunity. And also we have other policy which is after the demographic opportunity. So they have also policies to enlarge and continuous improvement of health, policy to enlarge and continuous improvement of social development and social security. The expected demographic opportunity in Jordan, we're expecting to have is depending on the population, latest population projection, we expect to have this opportunity in the year 2040. But if this is for the Jordanian only, if you want to include the refugees that we have, This will delay this opportunity by 27 years. So if we calculate and include all the population, so that it will be in 2067. So a decreased birth rate of, this is projected demographic opportunity and expected effects, a decreased birth rate or fertility rate of 2.1 is needed to extract the most benefit from demographic opportunity in 2040. This will ensure lowest total population and lowest population growth rate. Most desirable age structure bulge among working age and a small percentage of youth and elderly, leading to best organization of labor market. Lowest dependency ratio. And this is how you see the age structure will be. You see the percentage of the working age is higher than what is now. Again, this is providing that is only for Jordanian. If we will consider the refugees, it will be delayed by 27 years. Projected, the labor market will have to create by then a new jobs for the new pool of workers. If fertility rate does not increase, more jobs will be needed to be created each successive years because there will be more adults in the labor force. A total of 170,000 jobs are needed by 2050 if the fertility rate decrease. If it is not, the total will be 2,200,000 jobs if it is not decreased. But it is very important that this fertility rate should be increased. Policy to maximize the demographic opportunity. First, expand the labor market and improve its flexibility. Improve the alignment of higher education system with the needs of workplace. Change attitude toward vocational training, technical training, and increased training program. Because in Jordan, we realize that what we lack is the vocational training. We have a lot of others. So this is our target. So we should train people and advocate for vocational training so people will be convinced and go in really what the market needs. Strengthening the role and contribution of the private sector in policy formation and priority setting, further improve in Social Security Act to maximize labor force participation, then increase economic openness, restructure the public sector workforce to be more efficient, increase scientific research and technology transfer, enter into international agreement to strengthen Jordanian export in a global market. Mobilize saving to stimulate investment, improve investment environment and increase competitiveness, encourage investment in rural areas, SMEs and development zones, encourage business community to identify, direct, invest, and maximize its employment, expand social protection policies, including welfare, community development programs, and corporate social responsibility. This is now post-demographic. We need also to help maximize the prepare for post-demographic opportunity, emphasize the need to cover the elderly and social security initiative, support effort to develop new insurance, unemployment insurance, and maternity insurance, engage in pension reforms to make pensions sustainable, empower, educate, and employ youth and women to realize the demographic dividend. People, especially women, and girls must be empowered to make the best choices for themselves and their families. Policies must ensure that women and couples have access to family planning services and have the rights and freedom to make their own reproductive choices. The soon-to-be and already employed must be properly educated and prepared for future employment opportunities. Young women must be supported and given the same opportunities to succeed as their male counterparts. Viable employment opportunity must be created for younger generation. While much of this will happen in the private sector, public policy will affect the level and the quality of employment. Countries must focus on good governance and a strong macroeconomic management to ensure well-functioning labor and financial market. And this shows that in the unemployment, the youth, with men, the youth is high percentage in unemployment, and of course, women, it is less. They are the percentage of them in the labor market or in the business is very little. Therefore, a new initiative to address the problem of unemployment and weak economic participation of women, orientation for professional work and entrepreneurship, and creativity among young people by adjusting the curriculum in the schools and also in the universities, address obstacles facing young to go to entrepreneurship as a career option, expansion in non-traditional patterns by amending legislation like part-time work, working from home, work to empower the employment, vocational and technical training. Now with the refugees, you see from this picture, the number of refugees and they increase the number of population and the high numbers of birth among the Syrian, and this, because most of them come from rural areas who believe of having too many kids, and this is what the challenges that we receive from the Syrian has imposed demographic realities on Jordan. I will continue on. In Jordan that will have a profound impact on Jordan demographic transition scenario and potential benefit from its demographic opportunity. The crisis has boosted Jordan population growth. The Syrian who has already living in Jordan account of 16% of the inhabitants. Sustaining achievement is adversely affected by flows of forced immigrations to Jordan, especially the forced immigration of Syrians. The influx of migrants into Jordan has negatively affected Jordan's development efforts, impose unforeseen costs of financial resources, and increase the pressure on Jordan infrastructure, public facilities, and social services. This is the last slide. This is what we need. The future needs strengthening the integration of population dimension into national and sectoral strategies and development plans and programs, gain support from policymakers and decision makers, national and local leaders to population opportunity policies, stimulate private sector's role in financing population issues, support micro and small project sector by providing financing and technical facilities, and encourage self-employment and leadership in establishment of individual projects, quality control of educational and training operations in all elements to ensure the graduation of outstanding human resources, expansion of family planning programs for refugees, and thank you very much. Sorry.
Thank you so much. I know that there's a lot of things to talk about, and very important because data is so important. We are 7 billion people in the world today. Almost 2 billion of those people are lower or less than 24 years of age. More than half of them are less than 40 years old. By the end of the 21st century, we are supposed to reach 9 billion people, but 40% of that growth, 70% of the growth is going to occur in the next 40 years. And that's when all the pyramid shape will have changed. So it is so important that we are able to invest in young people. This is what we all stand for. This is what UNFPA is trying to reach out and how we can work together. I have the honor to introduce then our Minister of Social Inclusion, Ms. Wanda Piñato. Now we are in the exciting part. Everybody will be sharing their solutions. What are they doing in their countries, in their communities, as policymakers, as government officials, in the multilateral sector, in the private sector, in the international world, and also at the community level, at the government level, and the young people. How are we all finding solutions? Please, let's all welcome Minister Wanda Piñato.
Buenas tardes, muchas gracias al pueblo y el gobierno de este lindo país. Gracias por esse espaço para compartilhar a experiência de El Salvador, saber sobre como desde o programa Ciudad Mujer estamos abordando as particulares situações das mulheres, adolescentes e jovens. Ciudad Mujer é programa governamental implementado desde o ano 2011 como modelo de atenção integral e integrada para mulheres que reúne em mesmo espaço e uma mesma infraestrutura a 18 instituições do Estado que se distribui em 5 módulos. O primeiro, a saúde sexual e reprodutiva, autonomia econômica, atenção à violência de gênero, gestão territorial e atenção infantil. O impacto que tem Ciudad Mujer em el país é que as mulheres que atendemos usam 43% mais os serviços do Estado e seus custos de mobilização e tempo se reduzem. É mais, a avaliação do impacto realizada no programa indicou que as mulheres se sentem 10% mais felizes com suas vidas graças a Ciudad Mujer. Em El Salvador, há uma prevalência de 30% de embaraços em adolescentes e cada dia se produzem 69 embaraços precoces. Isto, anunciado aqueles casos de violência sexual, incluso feminicida, se concentra em mulheres jovens. Ademais, muitas de ellas já não têm um projeto de vida. Sua aspiração agora é sair a como de lugar de um ciclo de violência e um emprego informal ou a uma união temprana. Por ello, criamos um espaço para elas chamado Ciudad Mujer Joven, um subprograma de Ciudad Mujer que promove o conhecimento e educação em seus direitos, por meio de atividades lúdicas, deportivas, que promovam a participação, expressão e conhecimento, com o fim de motivá-las a traçar um plano de vida e se convertam em mulheres empoderadas em seus direitos. Procuramos atender sua saúde sexual e reprodutiva com os diversos serviços do módulo que atende esta área, proveídos por el Ministério de Saúde. Fomentar suas capacidades para a autonomia econômica, desde sua motivação e continuar seus estudos, hasta aplicar a empregos ou generar seus próprios empreendimentos. Atender oportunamente os casos de violência de gênero com um enfoque de direitos humanos que inclui medidas de proteção e medidas para um plano de vida. Promover o exercício de seus direitos por meio de uma formação com atividades lúdicas, deportivas e artísticas. O valor agregado é que estas ações de empoderamento vão acompanhadas de serviços integrales que tem Ciudad Mujer. Todos os módulos antes mencionados participam e, dado que as instituições estão em um mesmo lugar, em uma mesma infraestrutura, a jovem evita ser revitimizada e, mais bem, otimiza seu tempo, sendo atendida com calidez, motivando-las a ter um plano de vida. As instituições já existiam, estavam dispersas em el território e, por estar dispersas, eram ineficientes. É mais barato para o Estado y más eficaz para la realización de los derechos de las mujeres que estén en una misma infraestructura, seguras, integradas de forma eficiente. Además, ellas, en su entusiasmo y alegría, se convierten en voceras de Ciudad Mujer, atrayendo a madres y las mujeres de su familia y comunidades, generando una red de apoyo. Ciudad Mujer es un proyecto que fue diseñado para las mujeres invisibles. Em El Salvador, em Centroamérica, somos maioria da população. Em El Salvador somos 53%, mas somos uma população invisível em las políticas públicas. Somos importantes durante as eleições, mas passadas as eleições, seguimos em la invisibilidade. Ciudad Mujer, además de empoderar a las mujeres, hace visible las invisibles em las políticas públicas. Essa política pública já está sendo replicada em Honduras, em República Dominicana, em Paraguai, Bolívia, de forma fragmentada em Brasil e em México. É uma grande política pública. Eu les pido que, se têm interesse, aqui temos em el stand o livro sobre o projeto Ciudad Mujer e também uma visita guiada em um DVD. Muchísimas gracias.
Please, another round of applause for Secretary Vanda Piñato. I think that the most important thing that Ciudad Mujer has achieved, besides bringing to life, making the women visible, making a coordinated response of the efforts that the government is doing, the good thing that's coming today is that they're able to reach out these young girls. And many countries are facing also early adolescent pregnancy in certain regions of the world. So the first question, so that the discussants start thinking on how they're going to contribute to the conversation, how, based on the project that you have seen, should partners from the Global South change or improve policies and programs to harness the opportunities provided by the demographic dividend to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development? So now we also want to welcome a very special presenter. When you imagine a CEO of a private sector organization, maybe you imagine an airplane landing. So it is my real pleasure to introduce to you Sam, who has led a very important initiative. He's the CEO of his initiative, and I will let him share it with you. Sam, we welcome you. You can speak from there if you feel more comfortable, or here.
Good afternoon. That's a very good introduction. Thank you very much. I think the title CEO doesn't sit well with me, but I give it a shot every now and then. So, my name is Sam. I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. And 5 years ago, we noticed that young people were working in isolation. They were working at home, they were working from coffee shops, and they were working from school libraries. And so we decided to create a small space, which is the size of this room, where young people could come in and work together. We did not want to call it a youth center. We call it a co-creation center, an incubation hub. And people came in droves. And the first time we called for application, we had over 1,000 young people come over. What did we intend to do with this space? We intended to invest in young people. We intended to show them the potential they had by working together, building teams together, and actually starting small companies. In the last 5 years, we've managed to do over 40 companies. Out of those 40 companies, 3 have exited, one led by a lady. She joined our group at the age of 23. By the time she was 26, she sold her small company for $1 million, and she had already hired 15 people. And now she's on her second company at the moment. We have currently, at this particular point, you're working with UNFPA. We've discovered that one of the best ways we can solve problems, especially with sexual reproductive health problems, is by giving the young people the knowledge we've gained over the last 5 years and telling them, go out there and look for solutions. And that's going to be one of my interest points here, is the fact that we discovered some very interesting solutions coming from young people. As an investor from the private sector, I would not have invested in anything like Snapchat. It's very confusing for me. I'm not young anymore. I don't understand. And I'm a software developer. I had somebody mention software developers. I'm a techie. I build companies in that sense. But when you give young people the tools that they need and the information they need, then they come up with very amazing solutions. And working with UNFP in Nairobi, we've started what is called the I Am Accelerator. We went out there and we told young people, come over, develop solutions that solve the sexual reproductive health challenges you're facing. And I'll just share a couple of solutions that we went ahead. It's often you imagine that a young person would be happy walking to a clinic to get tested for HIV, AIDS, and things like that. But young people don't want to walk into open places, embarrassing places. And we were able to discuss solutions like having testing centers inside clubs, because young people want to party. And when they go to party, there is a center upstairs where they can go get tested. And that in itself does not call for software development. It calls for just an innovative way of thinking where you can reach young people. We have had a young person come and develop a software, artificial intelligence software called Sophie. Young people now in Nairobi can ask Sophie questions about sexual reproductive health, and Sophie will answer at any time of the day and have a very private conversation by having a 23-year-old university student build an artificial intelligence machine that feeds it questions and answers, and it's able to interact with young people. I could go on and give more and more examples of solutions that we've actually discussed, and right now we've selected 4 companies that we have invested into, that we are using what you'd call the Silicon Valley model, so that they can solve their own problems locally and export these solutions across the continent. So basically that's what I do, and I'd be happy to have any questions, to take any questions. I'm quite impressed by the conversations going on, and I thank the host for inviting us over. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sam. And I did jump from public policy to private sector. And especially important to have Sam with us, because he's young private sector, forward-looking, what's the world, as Dr. Al-Sayed, Dr. Al-Awar from Sayed Foundation presented to us, what is coming in the future. Sam's example is an example of a young person that is looking towards the future, that comes from the private sector, and that is showing us that working private sector together with the solutions of the community in response to the capacities and the needs, the fast needs of the young people today is something in which the private sector would like to invest. But now I want to hear then, or we all want to hear, from Humphrey Namibanya, and he will share with you an outstanding, I think, exercise of innovation that that they have led in his country. Please, you have a microphone if you want to.
Hello. Thank you so much. Unlike some, I love Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook, because those are some of the interaction that we young people spend most of our time. Looking at the solutions in the Global South, mainly youth-driven and reproductive health innovations in Uganda is what I'm going to talk about. We've been working with UNFPA for the past 2 years as an implementing organization, and whereby we believe in what UNFPA believes in, a world where every pregnancy is wanted, every childbirth is safe, and every young person's potential is fulfilled. And also, I guess that's the reason I'm here as a young person. I work with Reach a Hand Uganda, a youth-led organization that is an implementing partner of UNFPA. How can we better involve young people? That should be one of the questions I would love to throw to all of you. And looking at in the room, some of us are interacting with our phones, meaning that we are driving this conversation beyond this room to the global world, through Twitter, through Facebook, and we're also busy asking them this question: how can we better involve young people, in solving solutions, in designing different programs that can better, solve their own challenges they are facing? So in the past year, we've had a project that we've worked on with UNFPA, and that was Hack for Youth, on which we had a very beautiful hackathon bringing together young people from all over 20 countries, from all over the country, to hack solutions that can be able to solve sexual reproductive health challenges, and also to get our solutions on how can they be able to bring youth-friendly services closer to so many other young people. How can we also increase the usage of mobile phones within the country? And also we opened up to start celebrating the UNFPA Innovation Days, and also both these projects have been able to give us good results. And some of the results, we have been able to create 4 products, and Get In is an application, SafePal is an application, Sauti Plus is a website that is so cool, flashy for the young people, whereby they can be able to get information from. And then Karamoja Connect is one of our beautiful projects that we're implementing in rural communities and creating young leaders within those communities to track accountability, monitor youth-friendly services, and also be able to support other young people that are facing sexual reproductive health challenges. That's how they look like. We have the SafePal project application, and also Get In application. The Get In application is supporting young people, especially young girls that are pregnant in their community, to be able to track those young women so that they can be able to get support. Then the SafePal application is where the young people that are affected by sexual gender-based violence, on which they can report, get assistance, and also get youth-friendly services that are near to them so that they can also be able to be supported. Then Sauti Plus is a website whereby some of the examples that Gishula has mentioned in Kenya are also embedded into this website. Young people are able to ask questions to their immediate counselors, peer educators, and they're able to be answered and also be directed where they can get services. They can be able to be directed where they can get contraception, and also so many other things that young people really need to know because they always interact with their phones in different ways. Then Karamoja Connect is what we have created recently, and we're implementing it in the rural communities. Here we have so far mentored 40 young people as young leaders, and they're working together with their community leaders to track youth-friendly services, to track and also to hold the district accountable where they are investing the health money into the young people, and also how are they really using it. And those young leaders are able to do that. And also they are tracking where they can get assistance in form of the young women, also with the police, to make sure that young people that are affected can be able to be supported in different ways. So lessons learned out of all these things that we've been doing, and also I believe that this is something that also we can take further to our own countries, to our own different places. Young people need to be in the center of their youth programming, and also youth-led and youth-serving organizations will be left behind if proactive capacity building is not done. So this is what we really need to do. This is what we really need to emphasize, because young people have these solutions. Young people also can be able to create change in different ways. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I was, if you saw me taking a picture, because the last message, I think, is the message that we want to take out today. We cannot leave young people behind. We cannot afford not to listen to them anymore and to let us guide us into the future. So next, I will welcome also Mr. Bankwasi Yubu. Monsieur, merci beaucoup pour être ici. He is the focal point for Zero Pregnancy at School campaign, Ministry of Education of Côte d'Ivoire. Merci, monsieur.
D'accord, merci beaucoup. Merci à tous. On vous remercie pour l'opportunité que vous nous donnez. Nous allons présenter simplement en 4 diapositives le programme que nous menons intitulé « Zéro grossesse à l'école en Côte d'Ivoire ». Et j'ai l'honneur de vous présenter ce projet. En réalité, nous avons constaté dans la période de 2009 à 2013 une augmentation excessive des cas de grossesse d'adolescentes dont l'âge variait entre 10 ans et 16 ans. Et ça, c'était ahurissant, avec un pic en 2013 de 5076 cas de grossesse à l'école. Alors, ayant diagnostiqué un peu la situation, nous nous sommes rendus compte que les enfants, les jeunes, n'avaient pas suffisamment d'informations concernant leur santé sexuelle et reproductive. Nous avions également aussi constaté que l'éducation sexuelle n'était pas complète et n'était pas suffisamment intégrée dans leur curricula de formation. Et il n'y avait pas du tout de communication entre parents et enfants. Et également, les distances d'habitation pour les filles étaient très éloignées quelquefois des résidences des parents, de sorte que les enfants devenaient eux-mêmes des locataires et donc livrés à eux-mêmes. Et puis, il y avait quelques questions de violence basées sur le genre. Qu'est-ce que nous avons voulu faire et qu'est-ce que nous avons fait? Dans notre objectif, nous avions voulu, dans l'immédiat, réduire de 50% au moins des cas de grossesse. On dit zéro grossesse à l'école, c'était une vision pour le gouvernement. Et pour cela, il fallait augmenter l'information, il fallait également éduquer, faire l'éducation sexuelle complète pour les enfants. Et il fallait également aussi mettre à la disposition des enfants des moyens de contraception modernes à travers les services de santé scolaire et universitaire. Mais nous ne sommes pas restés là. Une autre stratégie a été d'utiliser les technologies nouvelles de l'information parce qu'aujourd'hui, les enfants ont tous des téléphones mobiles et nous avons dû leur envoyer des SMS pour leur... Il suffit qu'avec une application qui leur dit quelle est ma dernière période, ma dernière règle, et on leur donne probablement leur période de fertilité. Il y a également aussi eu l'installation d'une ligne téléphonique que le gouvernement a donnée gratuitement, à travers laquelle on appelle et on reçoit sans payer aucun frais. Et ce numéro, le numéro de ce téléphone était le numéro 107 à la nationale. Eh bien, qu'est-ce que nous avons eu comme résultat? Nous avons eu un déclin des cas de grossesse, une réduction. De façon globale, la réduction peut être moins considérée parce qu'elle est autour de 27,9%. Mais quand on regarde surtout au niveau des établissements, des écoles primaires, la réduction est très significative avec 87,8% de cas de réduction. Pour les élèves dont l'âge est compris entre 10 et 12 ans, 10, 12, 14 ans. Et la réduction, elle est un peu légère au niveau des écoles secondaires. Pour nous, ce que nous pensons, après avoir présenté un peu les résultats dans un autre forum sous-régional, nous avons eu des États voisins qui ont été intéressés par notre initiative. Et donc, nous pensons qu'en répliquant une telle initiative dans les autres pays, surtout les pays du projet SUID, dans lequel nous sommes partie intégrante, nous pensons que ce serait une bonne opportunité de réduire surtout les naissances, les natalités précoces, de sorte à ce que nous puissions aller vers le dividende démographique. Zéro grossesse à l'école, nous y adhérons. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Je m'adhère aussi. I think this is very important. Why do we talk about sexual and reproductive health? Why do we want to target adolescent pregnancy? One girl that has an adolescent pregnancy usually loses about 2 years of schooling if she ever returns to school. In addition, most likely, before 19 years old, she will have at least another child. So it is so important that we can address. Why? Because we really would like to empower them so that they can reach the full potential. UNFPA this year launched the World Population Report, and we have promoted, our executive director, the idea that if we can reach the 10-year-old girl and empower them and give them the knowledge and the opportunities to decide for herself and to be protected so that she can stay in school, we will be able to empower them enough to become part of this demographic dividend for the countries. So I want to share with you another question for the discussants. Family planning involves the number, spacing, and timing of the birth of the children. What are the possibilities for governments from the Global South to partner among themselves to achieve the maximum benefits of the demographic dividend? And this has to be achieved respecting the cultural context in which the children grow, in which our adolescents are living. And this is also very important. Now we want to welcome Mrs. Anina Chileva. She's the executive secretary of Petri, Sofia, and chief expert at the National Public Health Center in Bulgaria. It is very important that we hear her because this is part of the skills that we need to ensure all adolescents have to be able to reach the demographic dividend.
Thank you so much. May I have the presentation on the screen, please, colleagues? Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me here, to thank the government of Dubai and the government of United Emirates for giving us opportunity to present our experience. And also, I would like to tell you that the Petri Center is a Youth International Center for Youth Development. This is my, okay, sorry. And this is a joint project between National Center of Public Health and Analysis, one governmental institution of Bulgaria, UNFPA ICARO, one international implementing organization, and YPR, an international network which is located in more than 40 countries in the world. The aim of our center is empowerment of young people for youth participation and youth leadership. Our work is based on different types of activities. On the first place, this is capacity development of young people. We provide different types of trainings, including TOT trainings in peer education for sexual and reproductive health, trainings for community outreach for HIV prevention among most vulnerable young people, trainings for project development, trainings for advocacy, trainings for fundraising, trainings that are addressing theater-based technique for peer education. Also, we are organizing from this year trainings for leadership. And till this moment, we managed to train more than 800 youth leaders and volunteers from the regional of Eastern Europe and Central Asia and beyond. For all those years, because we had 9 years of experience till now, we managed to work with different political organizations as well from different countries in the region. We accommodated different national delegations to share our experience, including a delegation from Vietnam, for example. We are working also to provide support for most vulnerable young people, especially through community outreach. We work, for example, for Roma young people in Bulgaria. And this experience could be multiplied for a different vulnerable youth populations. For this period, we managed to train 800 young people and also youth leaders from different countries, but what is most probably our highest achievement is the Petri Sofia Fellowship Program. For this years, we had 38 young people, youth leaders from 70 countries from the region of Eastern Europe and Central Asia, and also from Arab states in Petri Sofia. They worked with us for between 4 and 6 months, and they are the real agent of our work. They are the true participants and think tank producers and creative developers of different ideas, campaigns, different community-based initiatives, and young people are our real motor of Petri development. I believe that youth-adult partnership is the magic and the secret of Petri development. And it was proven that peer education is really effective when two major and basic features are within. One is peer education based on a well-developed standards, which we received thank you to UNFPA for YPR years ago, and the other very important dimension is youth-adult partnership. And I believe that what we are doing is working with them on equal level and having all their ideas into action, actually. Other areas of our expertise are linked to need assessment, surveys, and other research activities, technical support for youth policy development, I told you this, M&E databases development and maintaining, advocacy, partnership, and networking in the region. International YPR network support provided on the daily basis is something very important. Actually, Petri is and was for a long period of time the only place in the world where the young people were able to coordinate their activities from a physical space. And for this purposes, a lot of YPR international coordinators were with us for these years. And actually, they were the only ones who, working on the daily basis, receive some small living amount for their activities and for their input for the development of this huge and very active and with a high impact network, which is YPR. Also, what is important to tell you is that from 1 year, from 2015, we have one more actor on board, and this is National Center for Culture and Art Jordan. This was the second institution in which another regional center for international youth development was created, and the both centers for this period of almost 2 years, we work together on daily basis. We share our models, we share our good practices, we share even our procedures and documentation. Young people in one center and in the other are in a daily communication. They develop together different youth-led and youth addressing activities and also social network initiatives. So you might see some pictures there. And at the end, I would like to say that our activities were recognized by the Bulgarian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And for the last 2 years, we received some money, small money, but still it is something which is given from the Bulgarian government for the development of Petri Sofia through the Bulgarian program for foreign aid. And this is something which we think that it's a good achievement. The keys for youth empowerment are trust, partnership, personal responsibility, professionalism, creativity, freedom of imagination and initiatives, support for individual needs and capacities, communication and understanding, and love. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much. And this is just a peek, because it is very unfair that we ask presenters to present in 5 minutes something that takes a lot of work and many years to achieve where we are. But we wish to stay forever here, but we can't. So we are very thankful that you take your time. What we are trying to do at the end is to launch or to ensure that we have an alliance to position a big platform of South-South exchange solutions, and you will all be part of it. Thank you very much. Dr. Maysoon mentioned that it's very important to create job opportunities for the young people. But we have also seen right now that they need skills, and the private sector needs some skills. So I'd like to welcome Ambassador Palita, who is the vice president of an organization that is supporting the SDGs, looking at competitiveness, looking at governance, looking at the future for the young people and for all of us today. Ambassador Palita, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, let me thank our UAE hosts for this very well-organized conference and their generous hospitality. I would like to take a broad brush approach to this question. Many of the other speakers have explained specific instances where they have addressed the questions concerning women and youth. But let me look at it from a global perspective. Today, we are confronting a major challenge. The challenge is the challenge of youth, young men, young women. I think it's more than a challenge. It may even be a crisis that is gradually creeping up on us. Today we have statistics are actually frightening. As the chairman said, we have over 2 billion young people in the world. 90% of them are in the developing countries. 73 million of them are unemployed today. We will need 600 million new jobs by the year 2026. The question is, are we in a position as countries and as an international community to meet this challenge? I will leave the question with you because I don't think there are straightforward answers to it. We think that there is a major problem that we need to address if we are to find employment for the youth that are coming up today and who will be there tomorrow. Many countries, including in the developing world, have provided literacy skills and numeracy skills to their young. They go to school, they learn to read and write, but have they got the skills that are relevant to today's needs? Can they match up to the demands of contemporary society? In the views of many commentators, we have produced millions of people who can read and write, but not the young people with the technical skills that the world needs today. The technical skills are required in almost every aspect of society, whether it's ICT, environment management, business management, agriculture, you name it. You need higher level skills. And these skills are not readily being imparted to the young of today. This is the challenge that we are confronted with. The SDGs have clearly identified this. In more than one of the SDGs, there is a reference to the need to provide better education, better healthcare, and better opportunities for the young people. Adults also, but young people in particular. They are the tomorrow's generation. They are the ones that will inherit the world after the old guys like us have moved on. And then, of course, we've heard this being mentioned a few times already, the question that relates to women, young women. We have a problem with young men. I think the problem is even more acute with regard to young women. There is a tendency in many societies for the women to fall behind even as the young men get ahead. And we need to be very, very conscious of this. And this problem needs to be addressed in a broad-scale manner by the international community. Awareness raising is very important. I will get on to what Sri Lanka, my own country, has done later on in a few minutes. But awareness raising is very important, not only amongst the young women. You must give them the goals, the ambitions, and the aspirations. But the parents, the older generation, also must be fully conscious of what young women need to do. Otherwise, we will end up with half of humanity being left behind in this very competitive world where new skills are required and new skills are not necessarily readily available to everybody. I think one of the key areas which we need to address is the private sector role in providing young people with skills. We know that even today, internships are provided to young people. And that's a good thing, because although I've read somewhere that the ILO does not necessarily think this is a good idea, personally I think it's very good. I've had many interns in my office in New York, and many of them have used that opportunity to sharpen their skills and get on with life. They've done well. And also, internships and better skills will encourage entrepreneurship amongst the young, so that they will not only graduate and then look for jobs, they will be the employment providers. They will create employment for others. So this whole attitude of depending on others to provide a job must be taken out of the minds of the young. They must be taught to create jobs for themselves. And I think my colleague over here mentioned that he is trying out these things and quite successfully doing it. It needs to be much more widespread.
We have a minute.
One more minute, maybe two.
You have
Okay.
Saz already.
When you talk about youth, you can't restrict yourself for 3 minutes. You've got to spend. And very quickly, the responsibility of youth today is not only to themselves. Of course, they need to find jobs. They need to make their lives better and more comfortable. There is also a responsibility to the previous generation. Today, we are confronted in many countries with the frightening prospect of the majority of people reaching an age when they cannot work anymore as they used to. And it will be the responsibility of tomorrow's youth to create the wealth to ensure that the older generation is cared for. Should I stop now? All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Palita. And he is the Vice President of the World Organization for Governance and Competitiveness. And you will be hearing from them a lot because they have offered to establish a partnership to support all of these South-South exchange solutions. And UNFPA will be facilitating this process. We thank you all, Ambassador Palita. We will continue then with IDB, Andrew Morrison. And I thank Andrew because Andrew was in Uruguay. He traveled to UAE to meet all of us, and then he's going back to Colombia. And he's taking the time, but it's very important because many countries work with loans that they repay to the regional banks. And Andrew has a lot of experience in supporting not only Ciudad Mujer, but many other social engagements in the Latin American and Caribbean region. Please, Andrew.
Thank you so much for that kind introduction. As Marcela said, last week I was in Uruguay, and I was at the Regional Conference on Women, sponsored by the Economic Commission for Latin America. And one of the keynote addresses there struck me quite hard. And a phrase that I remember was, from the managing director of the Economic Commission was, without gender equality, there's not development, and it's surely not sustainable. I've been wowed by the creativity of the examples of the programs in this session. Some really, really creative things. And at the core of many of them is a concern for addressing the double disadvantages faced by adolescent girls. Double disadvantages, they're young and they're women. And young women around the world face, I think, 3 interlinked challenges. The first is avoiding early marriage, and in some regions of the world, adolescent pregnancy, finishing their education, and successfully transitioning from education to productive work. In Latin America, the region of the world that I spend most of my time working, women long ago, as long ago as 1990, achieved parity in education. But they still are far from parity in terms of entry into the labor market, and once they're in the labor market, there's significant wage gaps. And this is a problem shared in parts of the Arab world as well, where women are increasingly highly educated but face significant challenges in labor markets. I need to confess that I'm a huge fan of the program that Wanda Piñato presented here today, the Women's City program. Why? Because it addresses the interrelated challenges faced by women and by girls. It's provided services to over 1 million women in El Salvador, and so El Salvador is not a big country. This is a big chunk of the percentage of the women in El Salvador. It provides quality services to women in a one-stop shop format, which makes services accessible to women and who are time and who are resource poor. But I also need to engage in truth in advertising, and as Marcela said, the bank I work for provides some financing for Women's City. And is financing its expansion, since we think it's working so well, to El Salvador, to Honduras, to the Dominican Republic, to other countries of the Latin American and Caribbean region. And since the topic of this meeting is South-South collaboration, I need to say that Women's City is a great example of South-South collaboration because this is not the Inter-American Development Bank doing this work alone. We're being helped by the Secretariat of Social Inclusion, which Dr. Piñato heads, and by a charitable foundation that she's set up. So it's not the North helping the South. Well, the development banks, first of all, the Inter-American Development Bank's not the North. Our majority shareholders are from the South. And Vanda Piñato's foundation and her agency are partners in this. Now, Marcela asked me, and I'm going to take no more than 30 seconds on this, to talk about why a development bank is providing significant loan financing for gender projects. And I'm really proud to say that my development bank, and I think other development banks are making this transition as well, are putting gender equality in the core of what they do. Today, almost 50% of the IDB's loans make a significant attempt to promote gender equality, whether it's a transport project that addresses women's and men's specific needs for transport, or whether it's a crime prevention initiative that significantly addresses violence against women. Reflecting again on the presentations in this session, I want to congratulate the presenters for their creativity, for promoting youth development, and many of them for having an explicit focus on young women's specific needs. And I would urge other people on stage and in the audience, when they think about youth programming, to ask themselves two very simple questions. Question number one, what are the specific challenges faced by adolescent girls and adolescent boys in our countries, in our states, in our cities, our neighborhoods? And secondly, specifically in the case of adolescent girls, what can my program do to build girls' capacity and girls' resiliency? These are hugely important questions. Without gender equality, as I said at the beginning, there's really no development and there's no sustainability. Shukran.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you for coming. It is so important that we can bring the regional banks and all of the multilateral institutions for financing, because these are credits, these are loans that are repaid by who? These are governments that are ensuring that public policies are in place today, but these people, the young people, are the ones that are going to be repaying in a few years. Yes, Dr. Howard, if you just allow me to have our last discussion, and then we come to you.
I was just to apologize for having another meeting. I'm called to I have to just respond to the other. So I just apologize for not being able to continue. And my thanks to all the panelists with us today. We're honored to have you and being myself with you on this panel. Wish you all the luck with the youth, that we will looking forward to have those concrete solutions for them, and more discussions to come up while I'm away. Thank you.
Oh, Madam Arawar, thank you so much for taking the time for being here with us today and for receiving us in Dubai. She is the person who led a huge team and made this possible for us to be together. And I just want to go back then to our last presenter and the important solution that she will be sharing with us, Ms. Loti Garcia from Honduras, is how can different offices in the government connect with others to ensure that each of these large projects can include initiatives to address the challenges that the country faces in order to reap the demographic dividend. Ms. Garcia.
Gracias a todos, gracias a Dubái por tenernos aquí, me siento como en casa, primera vez, pero feliz. Y así es, nosotros en Honduras hemos implementado un plan de embarazos para la adolescencia porque vimos que era nuestra segunda causa, que estaban las mujeres jóvenes sufriendo y eso les previene a ellas de ir a las universidades, a los colegios, etcétera, y queremos que nosotros como país nos desarrollemos. Por lo tanto, con el apoyo del UNFPA, hemos implementado este plan en el cual están 14 instituciones del Estado, una coordinación entre ellas y nuestros principales aliados es el sector de educación, salud y por supuesto el Ministerio de la Adolescencia en nuestro país. El objetivo general de este plan es reducir la tasa de fecundidad en las adolescentes de 101 a 76 por mil en el año 2018. Como ustedes ven, tenemos una alta tasa de embarazos, pero estamos en ese camino. La primera línea estratégica del plan es el fortalecimiento institucional para el desarrollo y armonización de las normativas. Para esto hemos, con el apoyo del Congreso Nacional, presentado leyes que van a la protección de la mujer. El matrimonio infantil a temprana edad ha sido puesta la edad un poquito más alta, ya no se pueden casar tan jóvenes, y también tenemos lo que es la paternidad responsable, que también se está construyendo allá, donde el hombre es responsable de su hijo esté o no casado. En la segunda línea tenemos el fortalecimiento de las relaciones interfamiliares, y para ello con el Instituto de Educación lo que hacemos es que con los padres de familia les ayudamos a ellos a entender a sus hijos, que tienen que hablar con sus hijos, porque nosotros como padres debemos de estar al tanto de lo que nuestros hijos necesitan. Y como si bien es cierto, a veces el joven quiere escuchar del joven, pero también nosotros como padres estamos en la responsabilidad de darles el mejor consejo a nuestros hijos. Entonces, para tanto padres como maestros se capacitan en unas guías de Cuidando mi Salud y mi Vida, donde se les enseña a ellos a hacer estos aspectos. El fortalecimiento de las oportunidades de educación, empleabilidad, inserción laboral y emprendimiento. ¿Qué hacemos en ese sentido? A los jóvenes se les capacita para poner sus negocios. Queremos que el joven también aprenda a soñar y que sepa que él puede ser alguien importante en la sociedad. No solo el hecho porque soy joven no me tienen que escuchar. Claro que los podemos escuchar, y por lo tanto aquí, como miramos en las positivas, les damos también las microempresas para que ellos puedan formalizarse y también ser agentes de generador en la economía del país. El fortalecimiento de educación integral y la sexualidad. Aquí tenemos a los padres, tanto como a los hijos, siendo capacitados en este sentido. En la escuela son obligados, por decirlo así, pero tienen que ir en línea a capacitarse el maestro, porque está también en la obligación de dar la mejor información a su alumno. Las 5, el aseguramiento del acceso, disponibilidad, la accesibilidad y calidad de servicios para la salud en los adolescentes. Esto ha sido muy importante para nosotros, y con el apoyo del UNFPA hemos podido abrir muchas clínicas de adolescentes donde solo se atiende a adolescentes. Tenemos en las instituciones como en los centros de salud. En estos centros lo que queremos hacer es que el adolescente vea, ya sea porque le duele la muela, porque le duele la cabeza, pero en ese sentido el psicólogo habla con ella y mira qué necesidades tiene. Se detectan a veces casos de abuso, falta de oportunidades, y se les escucha, se les da una guía, y ha sido muy importante estos centros. Y la número 6, la abogacía y la comunicación y la incidencia para la prevención del embarazo en la adolescencia. Hemos creado una campaña de comunicaciones a nivel nacional, la tenemos en 2 lenguas que prevalecen en nuestra nación. Y a través de los medios de comunicación, y también hemos hecho alianzas con los dueños de medios en Honduras, donde la campaña es replicada, y también pues el adolescente puede entender que ellos tienen derecho a soñar. Y de hecho nuestra campaña se llama Yo decido cumplir mis sueños, donde al joven se le da la oportunidad de poder escoger qué queremos hacer, si queremos estudiar, si queremos tener un negocio, qué queremos hacer. Pero eso es lo importante, que el joven se empodere, la mujer se empodere, porque como decimos en mi país, decimos, cuando invertimos en una mujer, invertimos en toda una familia. Las mujeres pues somos siempre viendo a nuestros hijos, a nuestro esposo, y así invirtiendo en una mujer cambiamos nuestra vida. Y muchas gracias.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. If you had heard, because she was not here, if you would have heard Queen Noor yesterday, this is exactly her message. If you teach a woman how to fish, everyone eats.
Just to finish, at the booth of UNPA, I will let you know the information, son las memorias con la información de los spots, de las campañas publicitarias, de unas ferias integrales que estamos haciendo en los adolescentes, en las escuelas, con todas las instituciones de gobierno juntos. Gracias.
Thank you very much. We have reached almost the end. Bear with me 2-3 more minutes because we were late when we started. And I just want to say that UNFPA is ready to facilitate the exchange of all of these exclusions. And we know that we have the support of the private sector, of the World Organization, also for governance and competitiveness. the IDB who have already promised to work with us, and also from all of you and all of the teams that are working with them. Also, I would like to thank you on behalf of our executive director, our team of UNFPA that we are here. Just two more words before we close. You can also access our booth. You will find more information. You can also have access to them if you would like to continue your exchange. 1 minute to close to Minister Piñato, and then at the end we will hear the last message, what we want you to take today home with you from Humphrey. Ms. Piñato. No.
Muchas gracias. Yo só queria reiterar que Ciudad Mujer também trabalha em dois aspectos muito importantes. A primeira causa de la muerte de la mujer, principalmente de las adolescentes, es el traumatismo craniano en El Salvador, la violencia. O sea, y la segunda causa de muerte es el cáncer. Y Ciudad Mujer trabaja en la prevención de ambas cosas, de la prevención a la violencia de género y también de la prevención del cáncer de mama y cervicuterino. Também damos prioridade à la alfabetização em direitos, porque muitas das adolescentes em El Salvador, em Centroamérica, em América Latina, em el mundo, não conhecem seus direitos, através de aplicações em celulares, mas também através de charlas em el território. 90% de toda atividade de Ciudad Mujer se imparte em los territórios. É o Estado em los territórios. Eu também queria reiterar uma coisa importante em área da educação para os direitos, que Ciudad Mujer é um projeto barato, que em uma mesma infraestrutura, 18 instituições do Estado prestam mais de 35 serviços. Essas instituições já existiam, estavam dispersas em el território e eram muito caras justamente por estar dispersas. E uma mesma infraestrutura, trabalhando de forma articulada, são mais baratas. Cada instituição assume seus gastos em seu pressuposto general e trabalhamos todas de forma integral, integrada, com qualidade e calidez, para atender as mulheres em todos os ciclos de sua vida, principalmente as adolescentes. Muchas gracias.
We thank you very much. And as we close the panel, we just want to hear the last message, very strong, coming from the young people. Let's listen to him. Let's take his message. Let's tweet his message. Let's tweet the solutions and the efforts that everyone is making. Thank you very much for accompanying us. UNFPA will continue facilitating these efforts. Humphrey?
Thank you so much. I'm very, very humbled, and I believe there's some energy in the room. As everyone has been talking about investment of the young people, investment in our population, and this is the time. And also, my last message that should go across, that should go in everything that we are doing, is that young people need to be at the center of the youth programming. And also, youth-led and youth-serving organizations will be left behind if no proactive capacity building is done. So we need to do this, we need to push this forward, and let's work together. Let's keep investing in young people. Let's not give up. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. They have just asked me to announce that UNOSC, the UN Office for South-South Cooperation, would like to give a gift of appreciation to the speakers, and I am announcing it for them. Please, UNOSC. So thank you very much for being here. UNFPA will continue facilitating, supporting this. We have just started our South-South Cooperation Office in UNFPA. It's only 1 year old. We are starting from scratch. We are launching our first platform of South-South Cooperation solutions with the presenters and the discussants today. The connectivity, the connections, we are not I am not, I would like to say that, technologically savvy, but I know about connections. So, and we want to thank UNOSC, Foundation, Zayed Foundation, and UAE for hosting us, and we hope to see you very soon. Thank you.